Okay, now we're back on track. I apologize, Paris. Now we have Yolanda and Josh Mocha. Is that how you pronounce it?
Mocha, you're good.
Mocha?
Close
Okay.
enough, close enough.
All right.
Just gonna give me my actual Hello.
I'm not
I don't
used
think
to-
I'm gonna need this, as everybody knows. I can project pretty well.
Projection.
Yep, there you go. So I didn't prepare anything because I thought this was last weekend. So
Or next week.
sorry, Gerry. We're gonna improv, which is the one class I did not take with you, Gerry. So let's see if I get an A+ now on it. We'll see what happens.
Give you the
But
final grade.
yeah, pressure's on. So to add to Dewey's story, actually, there was 25, I believe, work study students for Tommy. Yep, but what he didn't say is I think maybe 10 of them were brought by me. Gerry would bring them in, and I remember the one day he brought me, like, from morning on through students. Hey, this is so-and-so, they're work study, they're good at this and this. Oh, this person's been here before, they're good at this and this. And then I would have to find them something to do. So, what number were you? Maybe, like...
It was later in the day.
Yeah, so he brings me this gentleman, and he goes, "This is Josh. He's an alumni. He was in Stryker. And he's good at stuff." And then he looked at him. And he looked at me. And he goes, "Okay," and he walked off. And I'm sitting here, and I'm going, "Oh God, please not another," because he's right. They didn't know anything, and they were trying to get in. You're trying to find them something they'll understand. So I looked at him, and I said, "Okay." I was sorting the gels, which are the beautiful things you put in the lights for color, and I was sorting them, and I looked him dead in the eyes, and I said, "We're sorting these by color. You can't screw this up unless you're colorblind." And what was your response?
I am
Yeah.
red grain colorblind.
Yeah. So that ended up being what I thought was going to be a struggle bus, but then he pulled it off very well. And so then he was on my projections team. That was my main goal on Tommy. All those lovely projections for you those who were in it, who've seen it. That was all me. It was labor of love. And then we didn't end the partnership. So we ended up getting married.
8 years later.
Wow.
Oh my God.
We give you all of that credit, Gerry. And people ask me, and they go, "Do you think Gerry knew? You think he did that intentionally?"
He walked away with a wry smile on his
No.
face.
And I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, he didn't know. He's not a wizard. He's not like, "Oh, this is perfect." No, he just.
Yes, he
Okay,
is.
well, it's a lesson that it comes back to the lesson of he does plan, but some of it is let's see what happens, and that's a lesson that I learned very well here. It's hey, if it doesn't work, we'll find something else, but there's always another route. So even if you have to circle back later, it doesn't matter. You'll get there eventually. So
Thank you.
thank you, Gerry.
Thank you.
Okay, moving forward. Next up, we have Joanne Robertson.
Hello, I met Gerry in 1999, and the first question he asked any of us was, "Can you say my last name?" Well, I don't know if I was stupid or brave, but I tried. He said I came close. And also, line? There was one time I asked Gerry for a line, and he said, "You don't have one." Okay. But aside from that, I'm just so grateful to have gotten to know and to meet Gerry, because he has touched my life in so many ways, and for that I will always be thankful. About 11 years ago, we lost my dad, and Gerry was so wonderful through that. He didn't even dislike my nephew when my nephew decided he no longer wanted to do the play he was doing. Gerry was very understanding, and I appreciate that. And Gerry, I love you.
Thank you. Not in the program, and this is my fault, like I said before, for those of you who have heard, I had a list of the people who wanted to speak, and then that list disappeared off of my laptop. And I had to go through all the different chats to try to find everybody. So there were some people that had told me ahead of time they wanted to speak, and they're not in the program because of that issue. So next up, we have Brian Tereshevitz, who also, as he reminded me, should have been under the colleagues list. But, again, that was my fault. And I don't think he's going to let me forget that.
So, I started here at the same time that Jim did in '95. I started out as a student, and I became a colleague, and at times it was hell. Not because of anything here, just because I was stubborn, and still am. And all of you know this. So, hello, my friends.
Hello.
Yes, me. It took me a long time to learn admission to anything, and this wonderful man helped teach me patience and understanding, which when I arrived here back in early 2000, I wasn't really patient. I was loud, strong. He taught me how to calm down, how to relate to people. And I've gotten a lot better about that. I'm pretty good. But see, this has been going on since '95 with this guy. He has seen it all. Anyways, not only are you friends, but you're family. Look around you. You are a family that this man helped put together over time. The love that it is in this room, the love that I have, the love that each of you have, is because of the love that you cultivated to us. So I thank you for teaching me so very much. And if you remember, I was a stubborn pain in the butt. But you are the most patient man to deal with me and the rest of your family. So, thank you. I love you. We love you.
We love you.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you for being so self-aware. We're going to finish up with one of Gerry's, I believe, longest friends. I actually met this gentleman when we did Hamlet because he was our videographer, and I've had the pleasure of speaking to him over the period of time that I've gotten to know him. He's the gentleman right here with the video camera. So I'd like to introduce Alex Sergey.
Well, I've got you all beat. I met Gerry in 1979. Has anyone else known him that long? I don't think so.
You're very humble.
Thank you. I was flirting with a girl in the library. I was in college at University of Michigan. And we were flirting by making faces at each other across the room at the little library in the building. And so then I saw a poster the next day. It says, Gerry the Fool, mime. And I'm like, perfect opportunity to go impress this girl, take her to a mime show, because, it fits in with the way we were flirting. So we go to the show, and we're sitting there, and it was a remarkable show. I really loved it. But at one point, Gerry started playing this little game with the audience. He had a little ball. It was a mime ball, so it wasn't real. He had a little ball, he throws it out. So I caught it. And I throw it back. And when he caught it, it was bigger. So then he throws it back. And then I caught it, and it was bigger. And I throw it back, and it knocked him over. And I'm like, oh my God, that's hilarious. So we speak briefly after the show, and he goes, oh, I got another show down in Detroit in a couple of weeks. Why don't you come on down? I'm like, sure, what the heck? Actually, never dated that woman again, but I did make it down to Grand Circus to go see the next show. So I drive down to downtown Detroit, and I get there, and Gerry's like, oh, great, you're here. And he takes me by the arm, he takes me backstage, he goes, here's your script. And I'm like, script? Yes, you're the offstage announcer. Here's where you'll sit, this is your microphone. There's just a couple of knobs for you to turn, not any big deal, I'm sure you can handle it. So all of a sudden, I'm doing the offstage announcing and I'm running the sound for the show. Well, suffice it to say, oh shit. 40 years later, nothing has changed.
Oh my God.
I moved back from Ohio. Gerry says, oh, great, you're back. I'm doing this little play. It's called Hamlet. Perhaps you've heard of it. I'm like, okay. And I need some help doing the sound design. Oh, and by the way, can you videotape the show as well? I'm like, sure. So for 40 years, I've been very proud to call Gerry my friend. I'm actually his daughter's godfather, so she better mind me. And we have been close most of that time. I moved out of town and came back, blah, blah, blah. But it's been one of the longest friendships of my life and certainly one of the most fruitful. So Gerry, I'm just awful grateful for everything you've done for me. There's several more stories I could tell, but that'll be sufficient for today. And of course, I love you too, like we all do, and I'm very, very grateful.